Well, hello there. It is just 32 days to the general election, and as you already know, all the presidential candidates, that is Raila Odinga of the Azimio One Kenya Alliance, William Ruto of Kenya Kwanza, David Mwaure of the Agano Party, as well as Professor George Wajakoya of the Roots Party have all unveiled their manifestos, and that is the reason why today we're going to do things differently. On this set with me, I have a group of individuals who are going to be asking the hard questions about the manifestos that were released, or rather unveiled, by the four presidential candidates. And we are going to start with the Agano Party that is led by David Mwaure. He'll be joining me on set later on. But before we even go to the highlights, I want to engage the audience. I don't know, I'll start with you, lady. Kindly introduce yourself and tell us what you expect in this session.
Hi, my name is Meir Mwango, a student leader from Mount Kenya University. Today we're going to, look at the Agano Party manifesto and also check out the role of the youths. The role of the youths in this electioneering period. We also want to see our space as these leaders are bringing out their manifestos.
Yep.
Where are they placing us? So that's something we want to look at and also discuss with the rest. Thank you.
Powerful, powerful. Thank you for that. And gentlemen, kindly introduce yourself and tell us really what you expect from this session.
My name is Chris Sambenje. Actually, because that we've seen very flowery manifestos, we want to dig deeper into them to see how probably they are going to be applied and whether they are actually feasible, because we look at our national budget, the national debt. We want to know exactly how is it workable under the circumstances. We want to dig deeper into the question, because I've seen from his manifesto, we have seen a lot of talk on the issue of corruption and so on. So we want to see wastage and stuff like that. So I think we really need to engage and see how this thing is going to work out.
Well, thank you. Flowery is the word the gentleman uses. And remember, the manifesto is for you as Kenya wa kawaida, and that is what we are going to be probing tonight. But first, let's have a look at the highlights. Tonight, the ballot tender row.
And I think it's very unfortunate that some leaders can stoop so low to try at this point in time to try and malign the character of the chair.
IEBC boss Wafula Chebukati tells politicians to stop maligning his name. This as the first batch of ballot papers arrives in the country.
Na kama mzee wa kitendawili hataki participate kwa uchaguzi, hakuna lazima. Si namna hiyo. Wabadilishe candidate wao, waniletee mtu mwingine wa kuangaliana na yeye.
Deputy President William Ruto pitches tent in Marsabit County.
Sisi hatutasusia uchaguzi. We shall not boycott elections.
As Raila Odinga scales the mountain. And Buruburu police officer dies by suspected suicide days after video of him staggering while in uniform went viral. Police have launched a probe into the matter. Good evening once more and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Eric Munene, our sign language interpreter. At the bottom end of your screen is Anne Wairimo. Now, the Independent Elections and Boundaries Commission, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati, has confirmed the arrival of the first batch of the 132 million ballot papers to be used in the August 9th general election. As Mike Kagongo reports, Azimio La Umoja Coalition has questioned the printing of the ballot papers despite the delay for gazettement of over 16,000 candidates. Have a look.
At the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi Thursday, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati alongside the poll agency's commissioners received the first batch of the 22.1 million ballot papers from Greece. Chebukati says the first batch consisted of 128 ballots, including 9 for gubernatorial candidates, 111 for senatorial seats and 8 for women representatives.
128 ballots, of which 111 are for Senate, for Governor 9, and for members of National Assembly 8.
Chebukati allayed off fears raised by Azimio la Umoja One Kenya that the elections will be rigged through the entry of ballot papers through the Uganda border.
All ballot papers will come through Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. There are no ballot papers which will come in the country from any other place, as alleged by some political leaders.
Chebukati says the commission will not print any extra ballot papers, saying they have only procured 22.1 million ballot papers, which is the number of registered voters.
All polling materials are being printed in Athens, Greece, and the other factories in Greece, and that the commission can confirm, except the other smaller materials, voter education materials and others which don't affect the polling station.
The IEBC chair further dismissed claims the commission has been infiltrated by external forces keen on influencing the outcome of the elections. On Wednesday, Raila Odinga and his allies alleged a plot to rig the elections in favor of their competitor Deputy President William Ruto.
Now, the government printer has been having challenges in finalizing the printing of the Gazette notice because it's bulky. With the data which is in the Gazette notice, which includes symbols of candidates, and I'm informed they'll be finalizing any time today.
We are going to print exact number. That is, we are going to print for 458 voters.
The coalition now questions why the poll agency is printing the ballot papers, despite the fact that it has not gazetted the final list of 16,000 aspirants. However, the commission insists that the printed ballot papers only belong to the uncontested regions, dismissing claims by Azimio la Umoja lawyer Paul Mwangi that the coalition is not contented with the process.
Those ballots did not concern the presidential contest. So we are leaving it at that. But of course, it's our concern when we see that the commission has acted in what we believe is blatantly illegal manner. Because if that is the attitude, then that is an attitude that can also seep into the management of the presidential election.
He assured Kenyans that all ballot papers will be accounted for, as each has been assigned a unique serial numbers.
Informing the country that we are transparent in this process and we have nothing to hide.
The papers are expected to cost IEBC close to 3.2 billion shillings. The most crucial ballot papers, which are the presidential papers to arrive in the country, will arrive on 29th this month, days after stakeholders witness the printing of the papers in Greece, UK. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Tonight, IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati has told politicians to stop maligning and profiling his name in the wake of sensational claims by Suna East MP Junet Mohammed that he met Kenya Kwanza principal Moses Wetangula to award the ballot printing paper tender to a Greek firm Inform Liquors. Chebukati has denied the claims that he met Wetangula, terming the vote rigging claims as unfortunate. The IEBC chair has further told off Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga on his no manual register, no election threat, saying that the commission is not going to be dictated, in how it's going to execute its mandate. Our senior political affairs reporter Apollo Kamau has more.
With just 32 days to the August 9 presidential poll, IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati read the riot act to Azimio One Kenya Alliance leaders on the election rigging claims, implicating Chebukati and Kenya Kwanza principal Moses Wetangula, who they claim met to broker a deal and award ballot paper printing tender to Greek firm Inform Liquors.
The chair of the commission, I've never sat with an individual to discuss a procurement, and I think it's very unfortunate that some leaders can stoop so low to try at this point in time to try and malign the character of the chair. I want to urge politicians, as you do your campaigns, please focus on talking to the electorate about issues and not attacking the commission, profiling commissioners and profiling the staff.
Chebukati's dismissal comes hours after Wetangula hired lawyer Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi to sue UNET for maligning his name, with UNET daring him to go ahead. The alleged Karen meeting, according to UNET, came after Wetangula hosted 3 Greek foreigners in January this year, before the 3 billion tender was awarded to the firm in October, allegedly procured by Wetangula's confidant.
Kuna jamaa ambaye ametuma watu huko Greece, wakati ambaye IEBC imeanza kutangaza tender ya kununua ballot papers.
I have no interest whatsoever in any paper business, list ballot printing for any elections. I do not trade in paper. I do not trade in printing. I am a full-time politician and lawyer.
On a day, Chebukati remained firm and resolute on the commission's mandate. Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga's call for no manual register and no election was dismissed by Chebukati, saying the commission is independent and cannot be influenced by individuals in executing its mandate.
We do our work without fear or favor, in accordance with the law. We are not directed by any individual or authority or institution. We are answerable only to the Constitution, the law of the land, and whatever we do in terms of regulations and policies. So you may be unhappy with us, but so long as we are following the law, we are not worried.
With just 32 days left to the polls, IEBC is under intense scrutiny amid claims of infiltration by politicians and internal fallout. Apol Kamau, TV47, at the Bomas of Kenya.
Still on the polls body, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has refuted claims of divisions among its commissioners. This is after it emerged that some commissioners were not aware of the arrival of the first batch of ballot papers into the country, as Joash Ansari now reports.
Slightly above a month to the August 9th polls, and claims of a divided commission hit the electoral body. This is after claims emerged that a section of IEBC commissioners were not aware of the arrival of the first batch of ballot papers in the country Thursday. Chebukati, who received the consignment, was however quick to deny the claims.
As far as I'm concerned, and I speak for myself and the commission and the management, we are working together as a team, and there's no information which I'm holding from the commissioners.
There is a committee that has been entrusted with that responsibility, and their role is basically to make all the logistical arrangements and to inform the commission when the ballot papers will actually be arriving.
The commission, however, accusing section of politicians of ethnically profiling its commissioners and therefore endangering their lives.
The commission is concerned and takes a great exception on the rising propaganda through gutter press, social media, and some political players on its members and staff. The Commission condemns the actions of the perpetrators in the highest order. The Commission has written to the Director of Criminal Investigations to urgently investigate the matter and take stern action against the perpetrators of such insincere and insensitive propaganda. We also urge the Inspector General of Police to enhance security of election officials across the country.
In 2017, the commission was sharply divided, a move that led to the resignation of Commissioners Roslyn Akombe, Consolata Nkatha, Margaret Mwachanya, and Paul Kurgat.
There is nothing that we are going to put under the carpet. Indeed, the management does their part, and the commission deals with policy and supervisory of everything that happens.
The commission, however, says it is committed to a free and fair election.
We continue to appeal to all stakeholders to support the commission towards conducting a successful general election, including maintaining a peaceful political environment conducive for secure and credible elections. The commission remains committed to delivering to Kenyans a free, fair, and credible election that meets their democratic aspirations of the people of Kenya.
Even as that unfolds, the Commission says it will make a trip to Greece to oversee the printing of the remaining ballot papers on 15th of this month.
Our stakeholders, the political parties with presidential candidates, have gone to the warehouse to check the production of the KIMS kit that is ongoing there. Again, we will travel to Greece to see the printing process. That is between the 15th to the 20th.
Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Moving on, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission now wants the judiciary to expedite determining cases of elections-related matters. And as Moige William now reports, aspirants locked out of the August 9th race led by the presidential aspirants are now calling for the postponement of the fast approaching polls by at least 60 days.
Led by its chairperson Wafula Chebukati, the independent electoral body has urged the judiciary to expeditiously make a determination on elections-related cases, even as the electoral body makes an appeal in a High Court ruling made in a petition by presidential aspirants locked out of the race.
We shall continue receiving the ballot papers between now and the 29th of this month, which is the final day of receiving the ballot papers. The presidential ballot papers will be the last to arrive.
However, a section of presidential aspirants are now demanding for the postponement of the 9th August general polls by 60 days to accommodate their legal processes as they battle with the electoral body still in court to have their names printed on the ballot papers. Despite being viewed as a tall order, with the first batch of ballot papers arriving in the country, the group vowed to explore all available avenues to have the general polls postponed.
This is the first time in the history of Kenya that we actually have so many petitions against the referee. In the past, it has been petitions against members and their parties, but this time we are talking about petitions against the referee called Chebukati.
They also took issues with Wafula Chebukati, who for the second time will be at the helm of the electoral body and oversee the nation's 5th multi-party elections, alleging the 9th August polls is a predetermined race, adding that IEBC is not fully prepared to conduct a free, verifiable race.
Mr. Clueless, Wafula Chebukati and crooked IEBC already have a predetermined presidential candidate.
Mr. Chebukati to vacate the office because through his actions he has failed to do what is required by the independent electoral body.
Further, the disgruntled group led by presidential hopeful Nakuru Court welcoming a ruling by Nairobi High Court on Tuesday to have their names included in the ballot papers, said a repeat of 2017 presidential results nullification might take place, castigating IEBC for not adhering to the constitution.
So if this process ends up that it go nullified, then we have to start again. Then it means the people who are involved must be held accountable, because hatuwezi waste resources za wana Kenya kufanya vitu hazistahili.
If the group makes good their threats, this might interfere with the election process. Moige William, TV47, Nairobi.
Now to something different. Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga has refuted claims that he will boycott the August 9th polls, urging his supporters to come out in large numbers and vote. Now, speaking in Kirinyaga County, Raila was optimistic of clinching the presidency after the August polls. Lucky Heriano has more.
The Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga has dismissed claims that he will boycott the elections, urging his supporters to come out in large numbers and vote in the August polls.
Juu ya tume ya uchaguzi, na niliwaonya ya kwamba hatutaki wao waharibu uchaguzi na kuja. Sisi kama Azimio la Umoja tuna hakika tunashinda hii uchaguzi. Tayari tuko zaidi ya 65%, tutashinda na zaidi ya 70%. Sisi hatuwezi kususia uchaguzi. Sisi we cannot boycott elections.
Speaking in Kirinyaga County during his campaign tour, Raila exuded confidence that he will emerge the winner in the August polls.
Tayari tuko 65%. lakini tunataka ifike 70%. Unaelewa vizuri? Kwa hivyo mtu mwingine aliandika ati nilisema sisi tutasusia, ati we shall boycott elections.
Raila has vowed to reduce the cost of living if elected president.
Wakulima tutawasaidia. Wakulima wa majani chai, wakulima ya kahawa, wakulima ya pareto, wakulima wa avocado, wakulima wa viazi, wakulima wa ndizi, ya yote tutawasaidia. Sawa sawa.
Also present was Azimio running mate Mother Karua, who continued to drum up support for Azimio flag bearer, saying Kenyans are safe in Raila's hands.
Amolo Odinga, ambaye ni kinara wangu, ameahidi ya kwamba tukiingia kwa serikali, kazi yake ya kwanza itakuwa ya kuleta gharama ya maisha chini, kuleta unga chini, kuleta mafuta chini, na ile mambo yote inafanya gharama ya maisha kufanya nini? Kupanda.
This comes just a day after Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula distanced himself from the Ballot printing company, saying their opponents have sensed defeat. Reporting for TV47, I'm Lucky Heriano.
Deputy President William Ruto has now asked the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition to pick a new presidential candidate to battle it out with him in the August 9 polls. According to Ruto, Raila and the Azimio team have realized that they have no numbers to win the election and have now resorted to issuing threats and unnecessary ultimatums to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. Have a look.
Bottom.
The war of words between UDA flag bearer William Ruto and his Azimio la Umoja counterpart Raila Odinga is far from over. The war path this time around is the use of a manual register, which Odinga insists must be in place during the presidential poll.
Si walituambia wako na system. Si saa hii wanapiga makelele. Ati sijui iko shida gani na manual register. Kwani iko lazima mtu mmoja akue kwa hii uchaguzi?
Ruto says it is clear that Raila Odinga has chickened out and is retreating from the race after sensing defeat.
Na kama mzee wa kitendawili hataki participate kwa uchaguzi, hakuna lazima. Si namna hiyo. Wabadilishe candidate wao, waniletee mtu mwingine wa kuangaliana na yeye.
The second in command has urged the ODM boss to stop blackmailing and issuing threats to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC. DP Ruto, who was speaking at Marsabit County, where he combed through the areas of Ileret, Northhor, Kor and Loyangalayani, said IEBC should not take instructions from any candidate.
Ati anasema ati hataki kuparticipate kwa uchaguzi, ati lazima sijui kuwe na manual register. Mimi nataka nimwambie mzee wa kitendawili, my friend, my competitor, please let us stop the blackmail. Let us stop the threats. Let us stop all this nonsense. The people of Kenya want to vote and have a government on the 9th of August this year. Tunaelewana?
Hakuna mtu anakulazimisha upiganie kiti ya urais. Kama umeona utashindwa na hasla kwa kupitia kura ya mahaslas. Kenya imebadilika. Wewe enda uritaya na Uhuru Kenyatta. Na usiporitaya tunakupeleka na wheelbarrow paka Bondo.
The deputy president noted that IEBC has a mandate and expertise to conduct a free, fair and credible election. Kenya Kwanza leaders accompanying the deputy president told Odinga off for what they termed as looking around for escape routes and avoid the election after sensing defeat.
Sisi tuko tayari kwa uchaguzi. Nimesema hivyo kwa sababu nimesikia ule mzee tunashindana na yeye, ule ambaye wanashindana na William Ruto, ule mzee wa kuzimia ameanza kupeana masharti. Kwanza amesema ya kwamba kama hakuna register ya karatasi hakuna uchaguzi. And I want to tell my friend Mr. Kitendawili, you cannot be a player and a referee at the same time. Lazima uchague either ukue mchezaji ama ukue referee. Si ni kweli? Si ni kweli? Kwa hivyo you cannot threaten nobody.
Kama hataki kuja kwa kura, yeye ajiuzulu,
tuapishwe kesho, William Ruto achukue serikali.
The Kenya Kwanza brigade insisted their coalition is ready for the election and chided their opponents whom they claimed have run out of ideas and was fast losing ground support. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Harambe!
Now, moving on, a political battle is already on in the Nakuru gubernatorial contest. The race has attracted more than 5 candidates, all exuding confidence that they will clinch the county's top job. Our very own Chichi Josephine from Nakuru looks at the gubernatorial contest in the county in our continued analysis of the races in counties.
With over 1 million registered voters in the 11 constituencies, Nakuru County is set for a serious contest, seeking the county's third chief. The county has 11 sub-counties of Kuresoi South, Kuresoi North, Molo, Njoro, Rongai, Subukia, Bahati, Nakuru Town West, Nakuru Town East, Gilgil, and Naivasha. 6 gubernatorial candidates are running for the county's top job. The 6 includes incumbent Governor Lee Kinyanjui, who is running for a second term in the Azimio la Umoja, Nakuru Senator Susan Kihika of the UDA party, Dr. Stanley Karanja, Nicholas Weyaki, Elijah Karanja, and former Senator James Mungai, who are running as independent candidates, all 6 exuding confidence of clinching the position.
We had promised that Nakuru being a majorly agricultural county, one of the things we wanted to do is to empower our farmers. First, to change them from the small-scale holders from just being basic maize and beans kind of farmers to high-value farming. And in high-value farming, you're talking of pyrethrum, we are talking of avocado, we are talking of macadamia. And we have been on record as having given a major boost to these 3 crops, among many other high-value crops.
I'm seeking this position so that I can be able to bring unity among leadership, whereby we can be able to discuss together. That will be my assignment. And because they're all people from different parties, political parties, we will all have been elected by people of Nakuru. We will need to come together.
The former regime of devolution of Kimunuthi Ambogwa and the current regime of Lee Kinyanjui has not really harnessed the opportunities that are available in Nakuru. They have not brought the empowerment that we would expect from devolution.
Governor Lee believes his record in his term will favor him. However, his opponents have criticized some of his projects, citing them as a waste of public funds and without public participation.
During the inception and implementation of a project, before the public starts enjoying the benefits, there is a lot of skepticism, and those who ride on cheap publicity will also take a ride on it. But eventually, a project is judged. If you go to Thika Road today, it's probably one of the best things that happened. But at the time when it was being implemented and I was in that ministry, we had a lot of backlash. And the same questions that were being asked there are also being asked in some of the projects that we are doing.
When matters comes to issues of the economy and empowerment of people of Nakuru, we need to do what's called proper public participation and empowerment.
We have seen a governor who has completely just finished our small businesses, especially in this town, where he just threw out the matatus with no regard to what would happen to those livelihoods.
I will liberate this Nakuru from that mediocrity of being so dictatorial in making your policies and very combative when asked why you are making some other policies.
Political pundits in the county, however, believe that Nakuru County, being a cosmopolitan county, needs leadership that incorporates community decisions and promotes equality for all.
The leader we need in Nakuru is one that focuses on promoting equity. Equity in development, equity in service delivery. What does equity mean? Simply put, it should be a leadership that appreciates the differences in terms of needs and capacities of people from across the county, so that you do not
succumb to political pressure.
Locals are, however, hopeful that the county's third devolution term will be better than the previous 2 terms.
Ile ningeuliza ni kwamba tuangalie integrity ya wale wamesimama na vision ile wako nayo katika maendeleo ama development za Nakuru County. Nafikiria hiyo ndio itakuwa muhimu kwa sababu hiyo kiti haitakaliwa na wote 6. Mmoja wao ndio atabuka mshindi.
At the moment, we are fighting with the insecurity all over Nakuru. Investors are shying away to come to Nakuru. Why? Because we have industries that have not been given incentives and environment to thrive.
When we took over office, Nakuru was ranked 43 out of 47. I don't want to say where we are now, but I leave it to the public.
It is the most hotly contested position in Nakuru County that has attracted more than 5 candidates. What's remaining is to see who will emerge as the next governor of Nakuru County. Reporting for TV47 from Nakuru County, my name is Chichi Josephine.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Despite being visually impaired, he is a jack of all trades. It is our quest to find answers on how to take care of children with special needs and those with disability. You do not need to see musical notes to understand music, but rather to have your soul feel the vibe.
Actually, for us to make a wheelchair, we have to take measurements of the user.
After doing my assessment, I get to know the parent. I get to know the heaviness she's carrying.
Disability comes at different stages of life.
How well do you know what's happening around you? Morning Cafe with heated political debates. Baraza la Siasa.
Hiyo kitu azungumzie, angalie hali ya maisha ya watu.
Informative health discussions. Business, farming. Tasty Wednesday, Fitness Thursday, and Feel Good Friday with amazing DJs, celebs,
waimbaji, kuna comedians, alafu kuna wajinga,
and music bands every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. The next set of millionaires are farmers. As we know, agriculture has been and still is the backbone of our economy. As we traverse the different counties to meet different farmers, we ensure to get the story of how they started farming and even how they continue to penetrate the market and overcome the challenges.
Hapa, the reason why niliweka goose na si ducks.
Who held protests throughout the country have vowed to continue with the protests until the government acts on the matter. Paul Kirobi has more.
32 days to go to the next general election, and the hashtag No Food No Election was trending for the better part of the day. Dozens of angry protesters marched while singing revolution songs towards the government offices with a rallying call on the need to lower food prices and reduce the cost of living.
Rais wetu Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Amolo Odinga, with Dr. William Ruto, hao watu hawajailala njaa. Hao watu ni matajiri sana. Sisi maskini tunaumia. Bei ya unga imeenda juu sana.
Under Article 43 of our Constitution, we call for the socio-economic rights of the people of Kenya to be observed.
a capital city where a good number of Kenyans migrate to from their rural homes, at least earn a living. However, for majority, there is nothing to smile about. In a research done by the Institute of Democracy and Electoral Assistance, at least 65% of Kenyans survive on 1 meal a day because of the high cost of the basic commodities. 41% walk to their respective places of work, while 47% can at least afford a matatu.
65% of Nairobi wanakula 1 meal a day. 65%. More than half the population. 1 meal a day. 41% wanatembea kwenda kazini. 47% wanachukua matatu.
With unemployment becoming a major crisis in the country, a good number of Kenyans survive below $1 due to the inflation that has affected the country. Those depending on their small business at times cannot afford the bread. Instead, they take ugali for breakfast.
Asubuhi nikiamka nikikutana pale na strong tea, na kunywa strong tea yangu na ugali kama nilikuwa imebaki. Asipaka jioni. Jioni nikishapata ndio niende kwa nyumba huko mke anipikie sapa. Sapa nikishapikiwa mambo imeisha hivyo.
Sasa hata tukisema zianguka hawezi teremusha, ni kutudanganya, wanatudanganya kulingana na venye wanatudanganya huko mbele.
In some supermarkets, 2 kgs of maize flour that was going for 90 bob Kenya shillings is now sold at 210 Kenya shillings, while 2 kgs of cooking oil that retailed below 400 Kenya shillings is now available for 782 Kenya shillings, double the price.
Saizi sabuni imepanda, hakuna hata ukienda kwa jirani yako aweze kupea chochote.
Last week, Agriculture CS Peter Munya said the government will gazette a directive that will suspend the levies imposed on imported maize in a bid to lower the cost of flour that is now retailing at 210 Kenya shillings for a 2-kilo packet by end of Thursday. Miller said plans by Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya to suspend all levies imposed on imported maize in pursuit of lower cost of the staple will only cut the price of flour by 2 shillings for a 2-kilo packet. A section of Kenyans feel if the situation is not addressed at the moment, it might affect the outcome of the August elections. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Some sad story now. A police officer has died of suspected suicide a day after a video in which he was captured drunk and staggering with a full police uniform and a firearm while on duty was recorded by members of the public. One of the 2 members of the public who helped the officer termed it as a sad state of affairs, citing that he was not aware of the incident being recorded at the time, as Mudhoni Mainana reports.
In a viral video, the police officer is seen staggering and later falling down at the masses of the citizenry. The officer was later helped up by 2 members of the public who also secured his AK-47 rifle. The 2 members who helped the deceased recount how they found the unconscious officer, stating that they were quite familiar with him. However, they were totally unaware of the recording at the time, which took social media platforms by storm.
Mimi nikaweka gari kando. Kidogo nikaona ameanguka chini. Na bunduki iko pale kando. Nikambeba na bunduki, nikamgiza kwa gari, nikampeleka the station. Hiyo hata mimi nisuka sana hii jana Tuesday kuonyesha kwamba wewe ulibeba afisa sijui nini, nikamwambia ni mimi, nilikuwa pale Pulupulu. Siko najua kuna mtu alirekodi.
So tukaona hakuna haja ukae chini kuwa kama mwananchi ucheke uone polisi kama amelala chini bunduki iko na huko instead ya kusaidia. Juu ile bunduki ni maisha ya watu.
According to a police report, the lifeless body of the officer who was stationed at the Buruburu police station was discovered hanging on the rafters of the police canteen under unclear circumstances within the police station lines on Thursday morning. The National Police Service, in a statement Wednesday, said that the behavior displayed by the officer was unprofessional and unacceptable. The NPS said that any police officer is a visible representation and face of government and is required to remain extremely disciplined and professional while on duty and off duty. Police spokesperson Bruno Shioso regretted over the death of the officer, saying police have launched investigations into the matter. The body of the officer was later moved to Mama Lucy Teaching and Referral Hospital's morgue. Mufoni Maina, TV47.
Quite sad. Now, police officers have arrested 4 people suspected of killing 2 night guards who were on duty on Tuesday, further stealing a motorbike and a police sweater, among other items. The 4 are currently behind bars at Busia police station and are assisting police with investigations. Chepto Boit with the details.
Police in Busia County have arrested 4 people suspected of killing 2 guards who were on duty in Matayos on Tuesday. According to Busia County Police Commander Maxwell Nyaema, 2 of the suspects aged between 20 and 28 were arrested in Ugenya, Siaya County after residents suspected that they were up to no good, prompting them to blow a whistle.
Lakini hawa waine watakuwa mfano kwa wengine wale ambayo pia wanasumbua. Maana mliona vijana kidogo wanaua watchman. Na zile vitu wanachukua ni vitu kama sabuni, mafuta ya kupika, sukari, peremende ya kumumunya. Hata hizo pia tukiangalia tunaona ni vijana wanafanya vitu ya ajabu.
Nyaema has said that the suspects are currently being grilled at Busia police station awaiting to be arraigned. Among things recovered by police are a motorbike, a police sweater, a school digital laptop and retail shop items.
Hiyo vijana walipatikana na motorbike ambaye wanatumia, mumeiona vile wamefunika number plate. Mara nyingi tumesikia kisanga ikitokea Busia hapa pale Matayos ambaye mliona hiyo maneno ya jana. Hiyo pikipiki inatajwa sana.
However, Matayos Member of Parliament Geoffrey Odanga has condemned the rising cases of insecurity in the area, pointing an accusing finger at the police officers for abdicating their duties.
Mimi sasa nafikiri tumepita kiwango cha kuhandle mambo haya na hawa watu wa hapa county. Sasa tunaelekeza mambo haya kwa waziri wa usalama Dr. Fred Matiang'i na IG wa polisi Chief Inspector Mutiambai. Sasa lazima wakuje hapa na waweze kuaddress mambo ya usalama.
Chepto Boit, TV47.
To matters education now, the effects of COVID-19 in the country hit a number of sectors, and the technical and vocational education and training was not saved from its pangs. It is the challenges that TVETA went through that bore Volume 5 of a journal that outlines recommendations that will steer TVETA to greater heights. Sharon Baranga reports.
As the State Department for VTT.
It took a year from 2021 to 2022 to complete Volume 5 of the Kenya Journal of Technical and Vocational Education and Training. The contents in the document are recommendations from different writers on how to ensure TVETA thrives in the digital age, as some of the challenges faced during the peak of COVID-19 stemmed from not having entrenched their mandated activities in the digital space.
Our TVET systems in the past 2 years have been put to tests, especially on the resilience of the systems. And you can agree with me that initially we learned a lesson that our systems are never resilient, that they are very susceptible to both internal and external shocks. Case in point is the COVID-19 that hit us and everything actually went down. So this particular area attracted a lot of papers, I can say, because people are in the process of finding solutions to the challenges that are available in that area. Subtheme number 2 is empowering the youth through CBET, entrepreneurship and industrial linkages. Again, this is also another hot area. We are going to explore and see exactly what the authors did as far as this section is concerned. The third subtheme was on role of TVET in reconciling skill supply and demand. Again, this is also very key, as I've mentioned before. Lastly, the subtheme number 4 was on theory, policy, and practice in TVET.
Stakeholders in the sector say they plan to focus more on research, as it is the only way they can achieve best decisions to steer TVETA to greater heights.
There are a lot of dynamics, both in the labor market and also in terms of training is going to be delivered. So again, research is going to help us to understand all these dynamics and how we are going to reshape and repurpose our TVET sector so that we remain focused and we remain relevant and we engage our youth to make sure that they get the skills that are required.
The volume 5 of the journal is a tool that is expected to set the pace when it comes to making critical decisions in TVETA. The document was originally a publication of Rift Valley Technical Training Institute, but was acquired by TVETA in February 2020. Sharon Baranga, TV47.
Madam. Now moving on across our borders, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has resigned as the Conservative Party leader, alluding it as the clear will of the Conservative Party that he steps down from the top job. Following a series of dishonours that have plagued his office for years, Johnson, who outlived a vote of no confidence just 1 month ago for a COVID-19 related scandal, was faced with renewed wrangles this week after an unprecedented number of cabinet members and party leaders bowed out in protest of his leadership. Now, members of his party began to call on Boris to step down after a sexual misconduct scandal arose involving his former Tory Deputy Chief Whip, Chris Pincher. The move seems to be the last straw after the almost 3 years of controversies with Johnson in power. Have a look.
It's clearly now the will of the Parliamentary Conservative Party that there should be a new leader of that party and therefore a new Prime Minister. And I've agreed with Sir Graham Brady, the chairman of our backbench MPs, that the process of choosing that new leader should begin now. And the timetable will be announced next week. And I've today appointed a cabinet to serve, as I will, until a new leader is in place. And in the last few days, I've tried to persuade my colleagues that it would be eccentric to change governments when we're delivering so much. I regret not to have been successful in those arguments, and of course it's painful not to be able to see through so many ideas and projects. And to that new leader, I say, whoever he or she may be, I say I will give you as much support as I can. And to you, the British public, I know that there will be many people who are relieved, and perhaps quite a few who will also be disappointed. And I want you to know how sad I am to be giving up the best job in the world. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Now back to the country. The Presidential Debate Committee has signed partnerships with several civil society organizations with the aim of challenging the aspirants to shed more light on issues affecting Kenyans in order to enhance the level of accountability of the leaders. Now, some of the issues expected to be focused on include the high cost of living, debt management in the country, gender inequality, and climate change, among others.
Kind of their commitment that government.
We also want to have people involved in some of those issues, because public debt is also be treated as part of that high security, private presidential affairs. So we also need that to be part of the things people are involved in discussing and also in approving as part of the governance expectations in Article 10 of the Constitution.
I think our main interest is really to make the presidential debates about issues. But it's because in this country for a very, very long time, elections have been about a few ethnic groups coming together and winning power for purposes of appropriating public resources and for self-benefit.
Our commitment remains that these debates and these conversations will be issue-based, so people will make decisions based on issues that are put forward to them. And as the manufacturing sector, these are things that we want to bring forward, and like our partners has mentioned here, the conversation should not only be around the debates, but even beyond the debates, so that we can assess what the elected candidates would do after the elections.
Well, at 48 minutes past the hour, time now for a very short break. And as I mentioned when we started this broadcast, with me on set, the Agano Party presidential candidate, that is Wahiga Mwaure, and his deputy running mate, that is Ruth. Will be probing their Badilisha Kabisa manifesto. Their bosses are seated on one side of the set. They are here on set, as you can already see. They'll be asked the hard questions, so keep it here, don't go away.
You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories. Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Authentic, natural, planned. Transforming. Endless benefits. Slaty, purely Kenyan. Buy now on Jumia or Amazon.
Usiyakubalie maumivu ya misuli kukatiza ratiba yako. Kaluma Pain Balm ni dawa ya kusugua iliyotengenezwa kutoka kwa miche maalum ili kutuliza maumivu ya misuli. Kaluma Pain Balm. Shhh. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari. You are watching TV47, the home of untold stories.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's dive straight into business. Now, despite the harsh economic environment brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic, the annual revenue collection has hit and surpassed the 2 trillion mark by 149 billion Kenya shillings, recording the highest revenue collection in history. According to the Kenyan Revenue Authority, the monumental revenue collection has surpassed the revised target of 1.98 billion shillings, attributing to the outstanding performance to the transformation of the tax body, which involves implementation of a high performance culture in conjunction with the performance accountability as well as enforcement of tax laws to curb tax evasion. Now, close to 100 local and international investors who have shown interest in the 50 acres Special Economic Zone, or SEZ, in Naivasha are set to receive letters of confirmation to start working in the zone. According to the chief officer in charge of land in Nakuru, Judelia Waihenya, the amended plan is set to be released so that interested parties could hit the ground, adding that the plans to issue Gilgil and Molo with municipality charters are still underway, after which the two towns will attract donor funding and more support from the national government for infrastructure.
This season of politics, we would be the last people and citizens of this country and the county to hear that it would move away from Naivasha. So we are graced as the technocrats to confirm to potential investors that that's a place to be, and in a bit you get a plan that is permanent, amended, and that has a capacity to hold all the interests of different users, including the hospitality industry, conferencing, and many other businesses that were attracted when we called for investors.
Being the municipality and being within Naivasha sub-county, we have been able to set in a number of programs that are going to facilitate, especially investors, because most of the licenses are supposed to get from Naivasha. So we've put in processes that will facilitate will make it easier for them to be able to get their licenses, to be able to set up their businesses, to be able to set up the constructions that they want to do.
Now, before we cross over to the world of sports, I want to engage my guests who have made their way here right on time. I have with me on my further left the Agano Party presidential candidate Wahiga Maore. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here. Thank you, viewers of TV47. Thank you, panelists. Good to see you. Good to see you, and looking forward to a great time of interaction.
Well, thank you.
We must talk about our nation.
Definitely. Right. And of course, on his right is Ruth Mutua, the running mate. Karibu to the set.
Thank you so much. Good to be here. Good to interact with the citizens seated in front of us.
Quite an ambitious manifesto you launched, David, Mheshimiwa David, if I might call you that right now.
Right. And the only practical and realistic manifesto, the practical and realistic, the only one that's diagnosing our problem and providing solution.
And I want us to discuss about that practicability, I beg your pardon, especially on such matters like a waiver of 50% pay.
Right.
Controversial, if you ask me. A lot of people, there's been a lot of discussion online and offline, people saying that that might be a mountain. But we'll be talking about that. And of course, my good people right here in front of us will be engaging you, and they'll be asking the hard questions. So as you've just seen, right before we engage our guests on set, time now for the latest in the world of sports. Well, let's jump straight in. Former Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa was earlier today arrested by the DCI on charges of fraud. This comes a day after the Director of Public Prosecution withdrew the case after the Anti-Corruption Court cited lack of sufficient evidence. As our sports reporter Betty Mwakideu now informs us, Mwendwa will take plea on July 11th.
The embattled former Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa was earlier today rearrested and taken to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. This comes a day after the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, was forced by the Anti-Corruption Court to withdraw the case after the state failed to provide evidence. Mwendwa was grilled by the DCI officers as he is scheduled to appear before the Anti-Corruption Court in Kiambu to face fresh charges of alleged misappropriation of 38 million shillings. Sports lawyer Raphael Omala noted that twist of events in Mwendwa's case paints a bad picture between the Ministry of Sports and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution.
Kwa hivi sasa haikai vizuri kwa Wizara ya Michezo na kwa upande wa DPP, ambapo wakati kidogo anashikwa, anaachiliwa, mnamfungulia mashtaka, mnayafunga. Hakuna ule uhakika kuwa ni kosa gani amefanya, na inaonyesha kuwa labda hawajajipanga inavyostahilika.
On the other hand, Athanas Obango, who is a sports stakeholder, insisted that the solution for the tussle between the Ministry of Sports and the Federation should be settled.
Shida mpira tulianza tangu wakati Wanyamwea alivyoingia. Jukumu ni lake aweze kujiondoa katika ile, aweze kujitetea pale kotini. Kama hata patikana na hatia basi ilikuwa sawa, kipatikana na hatia basi sheria pia ichukue mkondo wake.
However, Obango stated that despite having challenges, the FKF Transition Committee has done its best in running the affairs of football in the country.
Kamati shikilizi wamejaribu, lakini wana changamoto mingi ndio usema hapo awali, na utapata kuwa kuna eneo ambazo wamejaribu lakini bado kidogo hawawezi kuendesha mpira inavyotakikana. Mpira lazima urudi kwa washikadau.
Betty Mwakideu, TV47 Sports.
Well, moving on, preparations for the fifth leg, I beg your pardon, of the National Sevens Circuit dubbed Prinsloo Sevens are in top gear after the Kenya Breweries Limited KBL announced a 2 million shilling sponsorship deal. Now, speaking during the event, Prinsloo Sevens tournament director Eddie Museti lauded KBL for the sponsorship, noting that the funds will go a long way in ensuring the tournament is properly organized. Now, the 11th leg of the Safaricom Golf Tour makes a return this weekend after a 3-week break at the Par 73 Nakuru Golf Club. Now, the competition has attracted a field of 250 golfers from across the Rift region and is set to take shape on Saturday, while the junior golf tournament will be held on Sunday. The golf series has been to 10 locations, including Limuru, Nyali, Kericho, among others, with the grand finale set to take shape at the Vipingo Ridge in August.